Hello, how are you all doing? This is an open message to Chuck and Amy Schumer. Chuck Schumer is the highest ranking Jewish official ever in American history. Amy Schumer, comedian, actress, is his niece, and both have been very, very outspoken about the alarming rise of anti-Semitism that we have seen exponentially, dramatically increase since the horrors of October 7th. And Chuck Schumer yesterday gave a very long, impassioned speech about how alarming this is and about the steps that we need to take to stop this scary rise of anti-Semitism. And there's something I didn't know, but only 2% of Americans identify as Jewish. So they are a minority that needs to be protected. I agree with all of that, and I agree with everything, and I stand with Chuck Schumer. I stand with Amy Schumer against this, just in my eyes, scary rise of anti-Semitism. And what's even scarier is how open and how comfortable people feel with being open about it. I was in New York City on October 7th, and I witnessed people in Times Square while the bodies were still warm from the people that were brutally massacred on that awful day. Before Israel even had a chance to respond, before they even had a chance to recover all the bodies, there were people in Times Square openly celebrating. It was disturbing to a degree that I almost didn't leave my hotel room. Actually, no, I didn't leave my hotel room for an entire day. I was so disgusted and disturbed by what I saw in my country. But I have to tell you, this isn't anything new. I've been seeing this for the past few years, and when I saw it the most before this day was the BLM riots. So let me get to why I want to personally address Chuck and Amy Schumer, because within Chuck Schumer's speech, he brought up BLM and all of these social justice movements, and he said, we stood with you then. We stood with you with all these times, and you have betrayed us. You have betrayed our solidarity. Same with Amy Schumer. Amy Schumer, as you guys know, openly supported BLM. She openly supported the Women's March. Well, Amy Schumer and Chuck Schumer, I have something to say to you. This is partially the spawn that you created. You encouraged the riots. You never called out the violence. And I'm not sure if you're aware, maybe you didn't research the movements that you were standing in solidarity with. They've always had this stance. Women's March has always had anti-Semitism all wrapped up in the leadership. They actually, I believe two of the leaders had to resign because of this, because it got found out by people and because it got called out. Now let's go to BLM. This is intertwined in the leadership, all up in BLM, and it has been from the very beginning. And instead of actually paying attention to what you were supporting, you turned a blind eye to that. You turned a blind eye to all of the violence that was happening, all of the Americans that lost their lives, all of the businesses that got burned down, the destruction, the terrorism that BLM did on regular innocent Americans, some who have no stance either way. You openly turned a blind eye because that movement was politically convenient for you at the time, and you used it as a political strong arm. Patrice Kahn, and by the way, everything that I'm saying to you right now, everything that I'm about to say, you can very easily within 5 minutes, pull all of this up online. My favorite underrated quote from the late great Dazed and Confused: my mouth does not write checks, my butt can't cash. So every check that my mouth is about to write you, my butt can cash. Go ahead, fact check me, research it. Patrice Kahn Colors, for years now, has had a clip on the internet that says she wants to see the end of Israel. They've always been pro-Palestine. And by the way, being pro-Palestine doesn't mean you have to be pro-terrorist, okay? It doesn't mean you have to be that, but that's not just it. I lived in West Hollywood during the 2020 riots, and my neighborhood was terrorized. My businesses were burnt down, and I watched all of the destruction, and one of the areas that was specifically targeted was the Fairfax district, which is widely known as the historic Jewish district with synagogues, Jewish-owned businesses, and that area was specifically targeted. Every synagogue was vandalized with anti-Semitic things spray painted all over it. This was reported by Jewish media, and a lot of local people know it. Did you ever call that out? No, you did not. By the way, that area had been attacked several times since then. 22 people died, and I'm about to read you their names in just a second. 22 people, innocent people, lost their lives during the 2020 George Floyd riots. Did you ever call that out? Did you ever come out and use your position of power that you are using now? Did you ever come out and say, you know what? We support BLM, but the violence has to stop. You cannot terrorize Americans. You cannot burn down businesses. You cannot hurt your fellow American citizens that are innocent. You cannot do that. We support the cause. The violence needs to stop. No, you did not do that. You turned a blind eye. And now the spawn of Satan that you helped create by turning a blind eye has now gotten out of control, and you are surprised? They care about no one. They want chaos. And that has always been the case, but you used that chaos, you used that terror when it was convenient to you. So now I am going to read to you the names of the 22 odd people that lost their lives during the riots. Some of these people weren't even involved. They were just passing through and stumbled upon a bad situation. Some of these people went there because they thought they were going to a peaceful protest. Some of these people were simply trying to protect their livelihoods against complete and utter destruction. And no, not everyone has the insurance that can bring them back their livelihood. So let's go through some of these names right now. First up, we have David Dorn, 77-year-old man, retired St. Louis police captain. David McAfee, 53-year-old owner of a barbecue restaurant. Chris Beatty, 38-year-old. Dorian Miller, 18-year-old. Italia Kelly, 22-year-old girl. She thought she was going to a peaceful protest. Turns out she didn't. She was shot. She wasn't even involved in anything. Did anyone ever come out and do a march for her? No, they didn't. They turned a blind eye because that wasn't politically convenient. Marquis Toussaint, 23-year-old. Patrick Underwood, 53-year-old. Calvin Horton Jr., 43-year-old. James Scurlock, 22-year-old. Havar Harrell, 21-year-old. Barry Perkins, 29-year-old. Jorge Gomez, 25-year-old. Jose Gutierrez, 28-year-old. Victor Savarez Jr., 27-year-old. Marvin Francis, 50-year-old. Two other identified males, and now one of the saddest is all, Sequoia Turner, 8-year-old little girl on the 4th of July, was driving home from fireworks with her mom, got caught in the crosshairs of two violent protesters at the Rayshard Brooks BLM demonstration at night, and she was shot and killed and died in her mother's arms. That story gets even better. The parents the next day, because nobody came forward, it was too chaotic, there were too many protesters, and cops were told to stand down and let them go. The parents had to go in a while they were grieving the loss of their 8-year-old baby, Sequoia. They had to go, this is all on TV too. I would implore you to go and watch it. They had to go do a press conference begging people, begging them to come forward. How ironic is this? This is a BLM protest. And a black little girl lost her lives, and her parents had to go and beg people to come forward. It took a year to catch the two people responsible for Sequoia's death because nobody at that demonstration came forward. They were forced to put up billboards all over the city, and now they're actually suing the city. But I didn't see you speak up when these people lost their lives. I didn't see you speak up when regular Americans, including myself, were terrorized in their own neighborhoods, not doing anything wrong. So I am glad you are calling it out right now, but I hope and I pray that you sit with yourself and you think for a second. You helped create this by not calling it out, by not nipping it in the butt, by allowing the violence to grow and to fester, and you were emboldening these people. You helped create this. So I'm glad you're calling it out right now, but I hope you reflect on how we got here. People get emboldened when you allow them to go and terrorize neighborhoods, to be actively bigoted, to be actively terrorizing people. When you allow them to do it. When Chris Cuomo says, who says protest need to be peaceful? When you have elected officials saying we need to go out in the streets while the streets were burning, while people were losing their lives. You can still be for a cause, but call out the violence. And maybe, just maybe next time you actually research the organizations that you're supporting, because they've always had this stance and they've always been open about it. The issue is nobody actually does their research, and sometimes we turn a blind eye because it's more important that our political narrative gets fulfilled, that our political objective gets fulfilled than doing what's right. So I'm glad you're calling this out, and obviously I stand with you on what you're saying, but let's do better. Thank you.